Welcome back, guys, to another Horror Room movie review. And we decided that because we finished the Leprechaun series, I was flipping through the channels a few weeks ago, and I saw that Sci-Fi had a movie, a Sci-Fi original called Leprechaun's Revenge, starring Billy Zane. And this is one of those horrible Sci-Fi original movies, and I wanted to do this as kind of a bonus to our Leprechaun series because it obviously has nothing to do with the original Leprechaun series, but they definitely were trying to sucker people in and make them think it did. And it was just, oh, so bad. You can take the worst movie in the original 6 Leprechauns, and this is far worse than anything else.
Just way, way below.
Horrible, horrible movie here. I can only think of one redeeming thing, and that was only because it was so goofy and insane. Happens at the end with Billy Zane in the truck. That is the only scene that was good, but we'll get to that later.
I would say the only redeeming quality to this film is Billy Zane. As bad as that sounds, I'm saying there's nothing, and he didn't really do anything spectacular.
No, he was pretty bad here, actually. But
dude, he's the Phantom. So I'm always digging Billy Zane.
And this movie came out this year, so it was released.
St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, for St. Patrick's Day. Sci-Fi did this. They wanted to get those, get some suckers to watch it, thinking they're gonna get Warwick Davis. And instead, they get this shit fest, absolute shit fest. I was so bored.
Oh God.
Watching this horrible, horrible movie.
In between like sequences, it just got so boring, slow.
Yeah, very long and drawn out. And the movie was only an hour and 25 minutes. And it was still just too long.
Yes, they could have done so much more, but
yeah. So to start this off, they show like a little video clip, history of the Leprechaun. We couldn't hear a damn thing.
No, couldn't hear the intro. It was like a whisper.
Yeah,
whisper
it was.
Song.
It made no made no sense. And we see two people. This girl, I have no idea what her name is. The main character. I'm gonna refer to her as the Irish cursed girl.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this film. I don't know anyone in this film's name either. I don't think it matters. Personally. I don't think it matters. Billy Zane's a cop. That's all that matters. Billy Zane cop.
I'm just gonna refer to him as Billy Zane.
Yeah, that's all you need to.
So we have the Irish girl and her grandfather. They're hunting in the woods. They get separated somehow, some hijinks, and she picks a red flower in some kind of weird tree cave. She picks this red flower. Bad CGI effects on her hand. And Leprechaun comes to life. He is not a leprechaun. He is basically the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
He's got legs like a goat. He's got horns and red eyes.
I like how you mentioned before that you don't even like calling him Leprechaun because he's not Leprechaun, as we all know.
Taking notes on this, I felt bad referring to this creature in this horrible, horrible costume as Leprechaun. But, you know, it is what it is with this sci-fi crap, so he comes to life, and she kind of shoots him, I think, and then he runs away. Her and her grandfather go back. Billy Zane shows up. He's the sheriff of the town. He's her father. The grandpa is his dad, and he picks her up, and of course she thinks it was just an animal. She doesn't believe it's a leprechaun yet. But back in the woods, we see another hunter, which makes me wonder how, if she picked this flower, how has no one else ever done this before?
Yeah, it's this obvious place where hunters go. A lot of people go here all the time.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, she should know this entire area by now.
Yeah. Going with Grandpa since she was young, but no, she's just like dumbfounded. Everybody's just dumbfounded at this.
So this other hunter meets the leprechaun, and this is where he does the gold tooth bit. Yeah,
this bit is questionable because he tries to talk to it. He tries to talk rational with the leprechaun. He's like, "Oh, you want my tooth? Oh, you want my tooth?"
This was horrible. He does the gold tooth thing. He says, "You want my gold tooth?" But as we were talking about before, the leprechaun does not scare him at all. Yeah. This monster with the red eyes and the horns, he looks like Satan himself.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
And it's just garbage, man. Really bad.
That's the first guy that sees him. Well, second, really, besides the main chick.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, of course, Leprechaun kills this guy. We find out it's St. Patrick's Day, of course. They hype this up the entire movie with all the Irish stuff.
Yeah.
Grandpa goes back to a bar, and he's talking to the bartender saying, we haven't seen fairy folk in this area for like 100 years or something. He knows all about this.
Yeah, he knows it. His family is, the O'Haras or whatever.
The daughter gets the impression of the flower she picked on her palm, and it's basically a 4-leaf clover that looks like a blister, kind of.
Yeah, it's like in a blister form of like 4 little clovers. 1, 2, 3, 4.
She finds out she was hunting near the Tree of Tears, which she's completely clueless about, even though she should know the area.
Yeah. Well, Gramps should have like mentioned this. You know, he's been around for family 100 years, dude.
Yeah, he's like the local historian when it comes to leprechauns and crap. But then we see Leprechaun kill a fisherman for his gold necklace. He basically runs around town killing people, taking their gold to eat it. He kills him for the necklace, and then she Googles 4-leaf clover blisters. She finds out about the curse. She goes to the bar to talk to her grandpa about the blisters, and she says that she found out that if you pick the flower, it unleashes an evil spirit, and if you don't get rid of it in 4 days, you're dead. So every day, one of the blisters is going to turn red until she gets rid of the leprechaun or dies. Grandpa's advice is that they need the luck of the Irish.
A lot of Irish luck themed jokes, sayings in this whole movie. Obviously, because it's St. Patrick's Day and it's Leprechaun.
Yeah. So she goes to a doctor. He doesn't believe her about the leprechaun. She tells her dad, Billy Zane, but he thinks it was an animal. However, someone went missing in the woods yesterday, so he's the sheriff. He's got to go check it out. We see that the second petal is now filled on her hand. She goes outside and she gets possessed by the leprechaun, I guess, and she starts doing that thing where they're like having seances and she's drawing on paper and she's like, oh,
yeah, I my head
and like swirling on the paper. And then her friends show up, this guy Ted, I do know his name, and then some blonde girl.
You had to learn that pretty hard, Ted.
Yeah, I found that out towards the end of the movie. And then a blonde girl, and they pick her up, she snaps out of it, she grabs the paper, she gets in the car, she never looks at the paper.
But she's been in this car with her friends for a question amount of time, but she doesn't. She brings it with her, but doesn't look on the paper.
Yeah, and she actually gets freaked out, and she leaves the paper behind while she runs out of the car, because she's like tripping the whole time. She's seeing illusions and stuff of like leprechauns and zombies.
She freaks.
And her friend picks the paper up, and it looks like a cartoon, like some kid would draw of a leprechaun.
Yeah.
And that's what she was possessed and drawing. So it was completely ridiculous, and these weird letters.
These letters on here. Now, I wrote them down. We wrote them down, what these letters are. And then later on, they're going to say it. But we'll just get to that.
Yeah, so Ted wants to help her because she's got this cursed leprechaun problem going on. So he wants to help her, so he goes and gets some books. He meets his sister, who's also a cop. One of the books he checks out is MILF. They make a lame joke about it. It's medieval Irish legends and folklore. And he's reading this to help the girl with the problem. His sister gets called to the woods for the investigation. She arrives to help Billy Zane. She finds a body. Then Ted goes to talk to the Irish girl about what she drew, what this cartoon was. And they find out that the words were something for leprechaun. It meant leprechaun in whatever language.
And we wrote them down. They are not, like, the first letter he said was not the letter that was wrote down. It looks obvious like an I, and his first letter he said was L.
Or an F.
Or an F. Yeah.
Anything but an L.
Everything else on, but it's just like, why?
So, back at the woods, the two cops, Billy Zane and the girl, they're looking for the body, they're looking around. Billy Zane thinks he sees a leprechaun. He starts tripping hard, and he almost shoots the other cop.
Dude, funny moment. Not meaning to be, but it was hilarious. Because he just trips, dude. He was all tripping.
She's like, whoa, man. It was hilarious. But then we see the leprechaun going after the doctor that the Irish girl had talked to earlier for absolutely no reason at all. He chases this guy through his office, I guess.
Yeah.
The doctor runs away from him, gets in the elevator. He's trying to hit the button. Then all of a sudden, the leprechaun's in the elevator and just kills the guy. We don't see shit, which happens a lot in this movie. We just see blood like splatter on the wall.
That's it.
Yeah, that was it.
Smacks his face and blood splatter on the wall. It's terrible. They did it throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. Grandpa takes a horseshoe from the bar. We see this guy, he's like a reporter, he's a blogger. He tells the female cop from the woods that something like this happened 60 years ago, which goes against what Grandpa said of 100 years ago. But he says that whatever it was stole gold from its victims. Then we see the bartender. He gets killed reaching into a dumpster.
Yeah.
He was wearing a gold watch and some rings, so he reaches a hand in, he does the whole elbow.
Oh my god, very bad. What should have been a really cool gore moment was really bad, because you could obviously tell he was holding his elbow up here, and like the extremity was like up his elbow a little bit, like off, like the bone squirting. It was terrible.
Yeah, and then we see blood splatter on the wall, like the side of the building,
just
side
like
of the bar.
Just like the doctor scene. It was just like blood splatter on the wall. There we go. There's your spectacular event.
So then the girl with the curse, she goes to see the blogger for some advice. He doesn't know what to do. He looks at a trophy that's made of gold, and the blogger takes the trophy and he goes to the woods because he wants to lure the leprechaun out and maybe take some photos of him or something. I don't know what his intentions were here. But like, he obviously knew about leprechauns.
He knew about this, and he's a blogger. And but he should know, he wants to survive to blog this, right?
Yeah.
You think you wouldn't go alone at like a night in the fucking woods?
No. And the best part about this was he goes to the woods, leprechaun steals his car and runs him over with it. And then backs up and grabs the trophy. And it was kind of like they were trying to do some of the comedy from the original series, but it just didn't work. The costume looked so bad. His hands looked like the Grinch with Jim Carrey. Dude, in my opinion,
that's good. That was pretty good. But yeah, this is like the only moment in the movie that he's like a human character that can drive a car. He can just do anything now. He's supposed to be like a woodland, like evil woodland creature.
Yeah. He just drives the car. So the Irish girl, her blonde friend, the other girl, she gets a gold crown, and her mother shows her something that we don't see yet what it was. No. Because she's going to be in the parade riding a float for St. Patrick's Day. So she puts the gold crown on, and that's kind of all we see at the moment. Then we see the Irish girl and Ted get attacked by the leprechaun. We see the leprechaun's costume fully, and it is horrible. I just watched Planet of the Apes from 1968, and the costumes were 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Just perfect compared to this. And they fight off the leprechaun with a horseshoe. Grandpa shows up with a shotgun. He says that the Irish ancestors came over with the leprechaun for riches. They kept it trapped for money, and it escaped. They caught it and buried it, according to the legend, some ritual so that it could not escape. So that's what they have to do to stop it. He says they need 4 horseshoes, and they have 2 of them so far. Billy Zane and the female cop find green blood back at the dumpster where the bartender was killed.
Doesn't no green. I say it looked like red. You say it looked like black. There's no green in that blood. Yeah. And it only showed it for like a moment anyway.
And the best part was there was no blood on the side of the building anymore.
Yeah,
that was completely vanished.
It was cleaned off. I was like, come on.
And then they go in the bar, and Billy Zane finds a half-eaten gold coin. And
see, he just kind of just happened to have it, but didn't show him actually like finding it. Yeah, he's like, I found this chewed on gold coin. I just know it's chewed on.
He's like, what eats gold coins? But my question is, why didn't the leprechaun finish eating the gold coin? Dude, like, why was it only half eaten?
No. He wouldn't just leave that around. That's his food, man.
So we see some kids break into an old warehouse called the Silver Shamrock. Up on the door we see it's the location of another horseshoe. It's the girl from the float, the parade, and 2 other boys.
Which she comes in here with these 2 other dudes at night in this abandoned house. I don't know why. I don't know what young girl would do that. That's just like asking to be raped. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So
we see Billy Zane pull Grandpa over, take his gun. He starts to believe in the leprechaun, though. His father tells him that his daughter is cursed. Billy Zane wants to call for backup, but he says no one's going to listen. We got to do this ourselves. We got to stop this leprechaun. Then we see the Irish girl and Ted reading up on leprechauns some more for the millionth time, and this isn't even the last time they read up on leprechauns.
Ted just has books on this. He just has books on it in his house. The only guy in this town that's not Irish of descent, who's like pretty much looks Jewish to me. He has the books on it. He has the books on mythology. The best
MILF.
MILF. I mean, that is good. So good you don't even need to look on the internet. He just has the book on it. Every book. What?
So back at the warehouse, the blonde girl goes off alone, and Leprechaun kills the other two guys. Rips one of their faces off,
and just like kind of something to the other guys. But this moment, the 15 seconds, this woman walks away, the parade chick, and they die. He screamed. One of the dudes screamed. First guy screamed. She doesn't hear a thing. It was like 15 seconds.
She was like 3 steps away when he starts screaming. It just came across as really bad.
Really bad.
Bad timing. We don't actually see what happens to the girl. It's implied that he kills her, but we don't actually see it yet. Then the Irish girl and Ted are talking about the situation, and he actually says that if this was a bad monster movie, the monster would kill everyone but you. So I assume they were trying to poke fun at themselves here, but I thought it was stupid. Billy Zane and Grandpa get the last horseshoe from the warehouse. They hear a noise, a girl screaming. They go in the warehouse, they find the 2 dead boys, and they're about to kill the leprechaun, but they hear a girl scream, and that's when they find the girl from the parade. She's all traumatized.
Yeah.
So then we have the cursed girl, Ted, Billy Zane, and Grandpa. They all meet up, and they prepare to fight this leprechaun. We see the girl from the warehouse is getting ready for the parade. She's got her gold crown on. I guess, even though she's traumatized, she decides that she's just got to do this parade. So she's got the crown, and her mom gives her the 4th horseshoe. That doesn't really make any sense, because the entire time, Grandpa and Billy Zane and everybody else kept saying, we need the 4th horseshoe. And even though they said before they only had 2 of them.
Yeah.
So they're talking about, we need the 4th horseshoe, we need the 4th horseshoe. They get it, and then they say, we need the 4th horseshoe.
Yeah.
So I guess the script got screwed up here, but that's just an example. I think they made a lot of mistakes, but they just said, screw redoing it. Let's just go with what we got. We only get 1 shot at this movie. Thank God we got Billy Zane here.
Thank God. Like, let's do it while he's still around.
So she goes off, the float leaves. We see Leprechaun show up, kill her mother.
I think the parade chick knew something, because she acted weird during this whole traumatized event. I think the leprechaun said something to her. It's like, I'm gonna go after your mommy.
So the float's going down. It's in the parade. She's got the gold crown. She's got the horseshoe behind her on the float. Billy Zane, Grandpa, the other guys show up to the parade just in time to see Leprechaun in broad daylight.
Broad as daylight in front of everybody.
In front of everyone, jump on the float, kill the girl, jump down, and then sees the horseshoe and freaks out.
And then sees the horseshoe. Like, he's already like down from the thing, then he sees it. He's like, oh God.
Like, he accomplishes everything and then freaks out.
In front of everyone, and no one sees it. No one sees it. Him at all.
Oh my God. And the CGI was so bad here for this.
Boo! Boo!
Then Leprechaun just starts killing people. He kills the female cop. He kills a bystander. Ted and the Irish girl show up to fight him with the horseshoe. He kills Ted. Grandpa and Billy Zane show up. Grandpa takes the body and just gets in the car and drives away.
And right in front of Billy Zane and the daughter. Like, Billy Zane just like lets it happen. Like, Gramps is able to pick up the dead leprechaun, put it in his trunk in like 2 seconds flat.
Yeah, and he just wants to go off and take care of this himself. He don't want to put anybody in danger.
By himself. Another smart move. Good move. Yeah, let's let this 80-year-old man fucking take care of this by himself. I got it.
And then we get the best part about this entire movie, and that's the Billy Zane scene.
There we go.
They follow, him and his daughter follow Grandpa to the woods. And he has this breakdown. He starts telling his daughter about what really happened to her mother. Apparently, it was Black Friday, and they were shopping to buy a game console for their daughter. And there was a crowd. People were rushing to buy this game console, and she disappeared in the crowd.
Surge of people, he says, came in and lost her.
He was fighting someone over the last game console, and we are not making this up.
No.
This was like a big, long scene, and he says that he was fighting. Her mother disappeared in the crowd, and he came back to the store and paged her every day.
For a year. Every day. Are you serious? You're not kidding me.
This was pretty bad.
And his name tag, and he was going off on his name tag, is like it's wrong. It's his name's Connor, and it says what, Conor?
Yeah, he's like, my name tag's screwed up. I suck. I'm a horrible husband, horrible father. I'm a horrible sheriff. Everyone in the town is dead.
Yeah,
he just has like this huge breakdown and freaks out. And this part was awesome.
He's like, everyone should be dead. It's me. And like right before he says that, like right.
So Leprechaun reaches through the car, rips Billy Zane in half. The daughter takes off. Her and Grandpa fight the Leprechaun. Grandpa gets killed.
Then he has hindsight and realizes he shouldn't have came here alone.
Yeah.
Good one, Gramps. Good one.
So the girl realizes it's up to her. She hits Leprechaun with the Jeep. She starts chasing him.
Dude, that's a good part. Like, because Lep is just running down the road, running down this dirt road, like, not in the woods. He's just like, I'm taking my job. Don't see no headlights coming up behind me. It's
like this big Jeep is right behind him, and he's just running like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It was so bad.
That was a silly part. Oh, God. That was so funny.
He gets on the roof of the Jeep. They fight a little bit. She eventually shoots him and then cuts him with the horseshoe stick, and he dies. She buries him. Into the movie.
Run credits. That's it.
I assume she buried him with the ritual so he doesn't come back, but
there's a lot of assuming in this movie.
Yeah, it didn't really go into detail on that or anything. So.
Why? My question is, why bury him? Because if he already like lived in the ground and stuff, I mean, why bury him? He looked pretty dead. He wasn't moving after like that stuff in his chest.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they want to do a sequel next year.
Oh yes. That'd be such a good idea.
They read my mind.
Dude.
But yeah, that was it. This was kind of just a bonus. We finished up the original 6 Leprechauns, and we wanted to do like a little extra Leprechaun review, and I thought this would be funny because I knew this was going to be horrible. And it was. It delivered on being horrible. So that's it. We will be back next Wednesday to do a brand new series. We're going to start a whole nother old horror movie series and go through every movie. And in the meantime, you can check out my friend's channel on YouTube, youtube.com/BewareGalactus, and I'll put the link to that in the description. He also reviews movies, all types of different stuff, Super, Children's Hospital seasons,
Hellacious Acres, Maximum Overdrive,
Redneck Zombies. So yeah, he has some horror movies too, so you can check those out. And that's it. We'll be back next week with a brand new series. So thanks for watching. Bye.